Hi, I'm Rob.
And I'm Brendan.
And you're back here with us today for another edition of the Rattlebox Games March Mayhem Board Game Showdown.
March Mayhem.
Today, oh my gosh, there are two bouts against four giants, and I can't believe that we're going to have to narrow down this field. Half of these games are going home with nothing.
My brain is exploding with the thought of all of these sad gamers who will love the games that are no longer progressing in this matchup. There are some powerhouses here, Rob.
Does it send you into a Bloodrage?
It does. I'm furious. Like these zombies in 28 Days Later, I'm spitting mad at the idea that Bloodrage might go home.
Well, if it does, it'll be sent home by Pandemic Legacy Season 1.
Whoa, what a challenger.
I mean, these are two games, we've talked before about how some of these games seem similar and some seem vastly different. Well, here's one where they're vastly different.
For sure.
Pandemic Legacy Season 1. The two minds that brought us this game really, they know their way around a legacy game, I can tell you that much.
That they do, Rob. That they do. And Pandemic Legacy, while it isn't the first legacy game on the market, it is definitely the gold standard. When people look at new legacy games, they say, does it match up to this giant, this titan of the industry?
Well, you were talking about giants and titans. Then you might want to look over at Bloodrage, because some of those minis are kind of approaching the status of maxis.
Yeah, they are. You get some of those monsters on the board and your opponents will tremble. Especially like the one that looks like a snake with dreadlocks. Yeah.
Yes, Eric M. Lang did a great job here, bringing some Viking battle to the board. The spiritual predecessor to the vastly popular and no less giantly beminied game that we all have come to know and love, that is Rising Sun.
Absolutely. And, Bloodrage certainly earned its pedigree. We've talked before about how some of these games come out of a series of games that help the developers really refine their strategy. And, Bloodrage is really the mix of two previous Eric Lang games we have. On the one hand, we have Midgard, which had a lot of the same area control strategies and card drafting. And on the other hand, we have Chaos in the Old World, Warhammer 40,000 themed area control game. And you blend those two together and you get Bloodrage. And it's a tough one to beat.
You know what else you get when you blend those together?
No.
A good time.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You do. People shouldn't count out Pandemic Legacy. Boy, opening those boxes, writing stuff on the cards, doing the... Oh, sorry. I had to make sure I didn't say anything that happens there, but let me say...
Redacted.
I'm a little frightened to be going into April here.
Aren't we all?
Indeed.
Well, then on the other side, we've got War of the Rings 2nd Edition. Whoa.
Wow, boy howdy. This is a table stomper. You're going to set this game out and you are going to spend all day moving those little minis around, battling the minions of Sauron against your delightful elves and wonderful hobbits. Yeah, it's going to be a real bloodbath over there in the land of J.K. Not J.K. Rowling. J.R.R. Tolkien's fantasy world. There you go.
Here's another case where you've got some A and you've got some Z. Because right. War of the Ring, giant game, taking you deep into the experience of the battles that wage across the face of Middle-earth. And then against that, we have a vineyard.
Well, you shouldn't count out viticulture. Maybe in War of the Ring, you're stomping goblin skulls, but you got to stomp those grapes real hard in viticulture to get yourself some tasty wine. Jamie Stegmaier and Alan Stone co-designed this one, and then they brought in Morten Peterson to do the solo mode. And this game, despite being an early design from Stegmaier, has just shot up the ranks, and people really, really like this game about making booze.
I see this at my game club on the table on a regular basis. You'd be a fool to count this out. You'd be a fool not to be on your toes whenever you see the word Stonemaier Games come up against you here in the bracket.
Indeed, there are few publishers with more fan love and, frankly, a little fan jealousy than Stonemaier Games. So, yeah, definitely can't count them out.
You'd be a fool to do so.
Indeed. Know who else you can't count out? The dwarves in caves in our next matchup. You know who else you can't count out, Rob?
Who's that?
The audience, because they're going to go over to Twitter and they're going to vote to tell us which of the two games will proceed from the 4 games and the matchups today.
That they will. They're going to go to @GameFightShow on Twitter.
Game Fight Show.
Oh, when you hear that sound, you know it's time to throw to Eleanor with the results.
Thanks, guys. The projections proved to be correct as 9th seed Gaia Project clipped the wings of 24th seed Wingspan, and 20th seed Arkham Horror the card game was left dispirited when it lost to 13th seed Spirit Island. What a day. Back to you.
Ooh, those were some heartbreakers there. Thank you, Eleanor, for filling us in.
I'm crying over here, Rob. Just crying.
Well, dry your tears. You've got 24 hours to do so before we come back here and release another episode of Game Fight Show's March Mayhem Throwdown.
March Mayhem Throwdown.
Brought to you by
Rattlebox Games.